Alastair Cooke and the 16th volume of Omnibus. In these very relaxed surroundings today, we welcome practically our favorite guests, the Metropolitan Opera. Once again, they're going to put on an opera that has been staged specially for television and newly translated into English. This time it is Puccini's La Boheme, which means simply the Bohemian life. Now that's a phrase that today tends to produce a chuckle. I suppose that the 20th century picture of it is of a male artist and a female writer squatting on the floor in a Greenwich Village apartment, tossing cheese and crackers at each other under one lamp. Well, it's not always meant that, and I thought you might be interested in the history of the word rather than the history of Puccini. The Bohemians in the 18th century, naturally, came from Bohemia. But after a good deal of trouble in Bohemia, they became the gypsies, the vagabonds of Europe, traveling from place to place without any visible means of support. Now you can see how the word would easily get attached to such professional bums as writers, painters, newspapermen, and the like. And so it did, first in France. And the word was taken over at the beginning of the Romantic movement that swept Europe at the beginning of the 19th century. Now, as I say, the word has declined and deteriorated, and it's not a good thing to be called a Bohemian. But in those early days, and in many places, the Bohemian life was lived with a lot of gaiety and with a lot of courage. And this is an opera about those days. Paris in 1830, La Boheme by Puccini. He wrote it 60 years after that. And in fact, the first performance was conducted by a promising up-and-coming young Italian called Arturo Toscanini. Let's meet some of the cast. Brian Sullivan as Rudolfo, a poor poet. Nadine Connor as Mimi, a little seamstress who lives upstairs. Frank Guarrera as Marcello, who is Rudolfo's roommate and a painter. And here is Brenda Lewis as Musetta, who is the on and off girlfriend of Marcello. Clifford Harvuot as another Bohemian roommate, musician, as Shauna. And another one, Norman Scott, as Colleen, a philosopher of sorts. Oh, now here is Alessio de Paolis as Alcindoro, who is a regular tycoon and an irregular stage door Johnny. Now I think we have a word from a subscriber who is impatiently waiting, and then we'll be back to begin the first act of Puccini's La Boheme.
To the nation's 20 million bowling enthusiasts, the sight of 10 pins falling is most gratifying. But to AMF, American Machine and Foundry Company, falling pins presented a challenge: how to set them up again automatically. The result? It's the ingenious AMF automatic pin spotter, designed to bring new smoothness to the game and added enjoyment to bowlers everywhere. You're now looking at the pin spotter with panel removed. This engineering miracle not only sets up pins automatically, but it also returns the ball and registers the number of pins left standing after the first ball has been rolled. Amazing, isn't it? Now watch. In this instance, the first ball has knocked down 7 pins. Notice how 1 of the remaining 3 has been moved out of position. Automatically, the AMF pin spotter knows just what to do and does it. In a matter of seconds, the machine returns the ball, picks up the standing pin, sweeps the dead wood from the alley, and replaces the standing pins in their exact former position, even when they've been moved off spot. How does the AMF automatic pin spotter remember whether the ball is first or second in the frame? Well, that was only one of the many problems AMF solved in perfecting this amazing invention. Another example of the willingness of AMF to tackle any problem in machine design and manufacture. And wherever you see these AMF wood-welded bowling pins, you know you're bowling against the world's best pins. Like all AMF products, AMF wood-welded pins are better by design.
Now we're in one of the most famous temples of the aesthetic life, the bohemian life, the garret of a starving artist. Rodolfo and Marcello live here, and we go right into Act One of La Boheme.
With an icicle. Maybe the Red Sea would be frozen over, with mighty Pharaoh skating to his fate. Why not? Smoke ascending, this a bliss of handing, its quantity unending. And what is more than faithful, in every other drink there is a grateful, but colder than a stone is ours alone. How incredibly cruel a stove without its fuel. Can a mineral inner be done out of a dinner? I'm cold and no mistaking, my tender bones are aching. I think they're breaking. The atmosphere is not conducive for my muse to be feeling effusive. It is worse than the Arctic. Oh, the heart of unbearable Musetta, even believe the North Pole is warmer than Musetta. For cold, unwilling shoulder, what could be colder? Musetta. Doesn't woman amaze you? You do everything for her. And the more she betrays you, you more and more adore her. How cold the heart you've chosen. I'm a lover who's frozen. Love we can wait with. The question, what will we fill the grate with? I found it. What is it? This. A drama, my own incomparable drama. And burn the old master. No, would be an able disaster. Who more than tragic, my beautiful play will burn like magic. A benefit premier performance. Yes, the revenue that it will earn is found in the heat of a furnace. A stage to emblaze it, all pretty. Superb, they will praise it. Superb. Then up with the curtain. Ah. Act One. Exciting. The action is fair. How long will it last? He was born in a manger.